Hello and welcome in today's lecture. Today we're going to discuss about the lean startup. And of course, as we're going to see, we're going to base many of our thoughts on an amazing book, which is called The Lean Startup from Eric Rice, How Today's Entrepreneurs Use Continuous Innovation to Create Radically Successful Businesses. A book by Eric Rice, which is describing his proposed lean startup strategy for startup companies, how you can use lean startup strategies with startup companies, okay, which is an amazing book. Now, the lean startup is a scientific-like approach for the entrepreneur to learn how to build a sustainable business. Of course, with the term sustainable, we mean a lot of things. It is a big vague term here, but in this lecture, we're going to focus on the lean part of it. Rice argues that in order to build a great company, one must begin with the customers in the form of interviews and research discovery. The same thing again and again. If you see throughout all the lectures, I'm saying the same thing. If you want to build a successful company and sustain your business, the first thing that you need to have in the back of your head is that you need to fulfill your customer needs. So what do you need? You need a customer-centric approach in your business, and in that way, you are going to add value to your customers and make them great customers on the long run, increase your customer retention and spread the word about your company and increase your brand name's visibility. Now, building an MVP, which is an acronym for minimum viable product, and then testing and iterating quickly results in less waste and a better product market fit, which is a lean approach in our business. Now, the technique of MVP is something that we're going to discuss in the next slides, and it is a technique which is used for many entrepreneurs. It can be seen that it can be said that it is a development technique in which a new product is introduced in the market with some of its basic features, not all the features that the product might have, but enough to get the attention of the buyers. The final product is released in the market only after the feedback of the initial users, and in that way we try to understand and validate the premise of the product, to test hypotheses about the market trend needs, to make adjustments to the product vision, and to prioritize where to invest in the future development of the specific product in order to make it more attractive to our customers and to add value to them via their product. Also, Rice recommends using a process which is called the 5 Whys, and started with Taiichi Ohno from Toyota several years ago, just after the World War II. A process which can be seen as part of the root cause analysis. Of course, it is not something that is used heavily from entrepreneurs today, but it is a very basic process which can answer and solve a lot of our problems. Here we can see an example of some companies, two basically companies which started as startups and made a phenomenal growth. We see the iOS application store with more than 50 billion downloads and more than 850,000 total apps. On the same wavelength, Google Play had more than 48 billion downloads and 800,000 total apps. So if we have this phenomenal growth, everything seems that we are going on the right path. Okay, we're moving on the right path, everything is okay. We have so many downloads, everybody wants our products, we are happy. Okay, that's the story in short. But is this the whole truth? Is this the whole picture? Because sometimes, customers don't have an alternative. So how they perceive our product? They perceive our products like it is a great one, or they don't have any other alternative, so they stay with us. Okay, this is a question that we need to ask ourselves. Too many apps with poor quality, flawed UX, thoughtless design, another photo app, another social app, another game. Me Too's also runs, and flat-out imitators are crowding the market, and users are noticing. Okay, if users are noticing all the time, they're on their mobile phones, they're on the laptops, on their tablets, they are on the internet 24/7. They are seeing what's going on, they can understand, they know what they need. Sometimes they can't get it, but at the end of the day, they are going to judge our products, they're going to judge our company, and we don't want to be misjudged. Now we're entering into the notion of minimum viable product, or MVP, as we said. The MVP methodology asks us to reach out to the market sooner than ever before. With it is some kind of the beta version of our product, private beta, a landing page or in other words text ad, tries to get actionable feedback from the market as soon as possible, as cheaply as possible, and intended to validate the company's assumptions early and often. So these are the two very important keywords, early and often. We're going to see that we have the product development extremes are the blue sky super build, which has to do with how innovative are we thinking out of the box, release fast. So as we saw here, early release, release fast, and release often. So fast and often are very important. And here where MVP fits between an out of the box approach of thinking and release fast and release often one. Now, the MVP is unique in the way that it combines market testing right into the earliest prototyping and validation stages, intended to let the market tell you at each iteration what they like, don't like, qualitatively and quantitatively, via in-product analytics tools like Flurry, Google Analytics, and local analytics, solicited and unsolicited direct user feedback. So the main takeaway with MVPs is that we launch it fast, with not all the features that this product might have, and of course, we are based upon customers' feedback before launching the final product. Okay, so the important thing is fast to grab our potential customers' attention with not all the features, and the second, the very important thing here is the feedback from our customers. We take the feedback and we analyze it qualitative and quantitative with tools that we're going to see, and then we need to take our decision whether or not to invest in this product or to improve it, and what exactly to prioritize. Suggest you create something that can measure interest in the problem you are trying to solve and the way in which you are attempting to solve it before you've solved it. It's a learning process in theory, with the primary goal of gathering as much data, metrics, and analysis possible to figure out what works and what doesn't. It's like the A/B testing in digital marketing. You release something and you see how it goes, compare it with something else. This is the notion in digital marketing. Here we have the first version of our product. We release it with not all the features. We see what is the feedback from our customers. We analyze it. We take all the metrics and we crunching all this data, and then we figure out what works and what doesn't work in order to improve the product and releasing the market in its full scale, and grab exactly what customers want and what exactly what customers need. Now, the experiment or series of experiments in the build, measure, learn loop allows you to continually evolve your product until it's satisfactory, solves your problem, or your idea fails. So here we have the build, measure, loop, build, measure, learn loop, which is an approach of building a product, measuring, getting the metrics from the feedback of your customers, and then learn from that and improve your products in order to make it more attractive and to catch the customer's attention. So this is the loop: learn, build, measure. You build, you measure, and from the measures and the whole experience, you learn, and then you continue building. Pivot or persevere. We have the loop here: learn, build, measure, learn, and with this has to do via hypothesis and experiment. Okay, we hypothesize something, and we do this experiment by launching the product, which we have just built, and then get the metrics and target value from baseline to ideal. We create this baseline from this metrics from baseline to ideal, and from all this process we are learning, and we make our product more viable and more attractive to our customers in the next loop. Now, again, getting back to minimal viable product, entrepreneurship is a lean startup. In a lean startup is really a series of MVPs, as Iterate Rice said in his amazing book. If Apple can launch a smartphone without find or cut and paste, what can you cut out of your product requirements? This is what Straman Mitra said. The first version of Gmail was literally written in a day. Paul Bunchett, creator and lead developer of Gmail. We see that the majority of successful MVPs, startups, started with a minimal viable product. They saw the reactions, and then they improved the products and launched the final one, which grabbed totally people's attention, and this is why they had this kind of exponential growth. The MVP is a process to continuously test ideas and build the product at the same time. Okay, getting the feedback and make it better. Benefits tutored for MVP included. The cost of user acquisition for traditional product launches can be tremendously expensive. So adapting MVP lowers the cost of failing with a product the market doesn't want. So this is the amazing benefit that you have with this method, which is that you get the feedback from your customers and you know exactly what they want. So you don't spend money to things that they don't want. You don't include this kind of things in your product. So the product that you have is not only viable and attracting to your customers' attention, but and that adds value to your customers, but also saves you a lot of money. Okay. Benefit from testing with real organic use cases. It's out there in the wild, used by real people in the real ways they will use your product. It's not like doing outsourcing your research to a specific company, which is uses a sample, etc. It's real life situation. You send your product out in the market and you see real life interaction with it from your customers and how they react. Low-hanging fruit is identified and checked off early. Easy pickings for quick fixes and obvious missteps. Okay, so if you release something quickly, people usually respond to that. They check it quickly, and then you have a quick feedback. And via your feedback, you can launch your final product, which is the best possible option of the one that you had in your mind. Brings clarity to your business goals, reprioritize and reevaluate realistic milestones. Allows you to test your marketing initiatives, value propositions, and messaging at very early stages and with each iteration. Allows you to generate early revenue because nothing speaks louder than people giving you their hard-earned money. Allows you to fail fast and often and learn from your failings. So, of course, there is always you take something, you're giving something, it's an exchange. Of course, by failing early doesn't mean that success will come 100%. You're taking your risks because people might think, okay, this is a failed company because the product fails again and again because you have this iteration. But on the other hand, in that way, you can create an amazing product, and this amazing product, why it's going to be amazing? Because is going to get real feedback from real people who are going to spend the real money on your product. So they know exactly what they want. If they're going to get your products, it means that they really want it. If they want, they're going to leave you a feedback, and this feedback is worth more than gold. It's worth more than having bought your products in the first place. Why? Because in that way, it saves you a lot of money. You know exactly now what you should do in order to let them buy your product. And in that way, you create more value to them, so they're going to buy again and again from you. Okay. Back to our product owner, inspired by the lean startup. He knows his vision has to be tested. He formulates hypotheses, he value hypotheses and grow hypotheses. He defines the minimum success criteria. He designs experiments, his product backlog. Okay, so it is all about the hypothesis and how this hypothesis is tested in a real world situation, and then the owner of the company, the productor, the creator of the product is the one who is going to validate the final success, because he or she is the one who is going to put there the threshold which the product after the feedback needs to pass in order to be viable and to send it out there in the markets in its final form. Minimal viable product is the common place between the minimum bad products no one wants to use and the viable products built by companies with better resources. In this common ground, you can find the good products for startups to build. Okay, and this of course comes from feedback from real customers. A minimum viable product is the version of a new product which allows the team to collect the maximum amount of validated learning from customers with the least effort, as Eric Rice said in the Lean Startup book that we saw in the beginning. Why do we need a minimum viable product? To allure of a good plan, a solid strategy, and thorough market research for an established company mapped to a startup. Doing without thinking about the processes lead to execution problems within the team, lack of focus and execution. As you can see here in the picture, there is a place which lies between success and failure. It is up to you to decide which path you need to take. If you follow the minimum viable product approach, you're going to this way, to the success way. And why is that? Because as we can see here, doing without thinking about the process lead to execution problems within the team. This is one reason. Lack of focus and execution is the result of that, and this is something that we can avoid with a minimum viable product. Okay, and of course, this is a very good plan. It is a very good, solid strategy, and because it is based on thorough market research and answers from and feedback from the real customers in the real world situation without simulations. Now, the goal of customer discovery is to test your understanding of the customer's problem and see if your solution will prompt him to buy the product based on the important features alone. Okay. Customers are not stupid. Okay, they know exactly what they want. If they don't know, it is because you don't. They cannot find it. They know that they need something. They don't know which product is going to fill this gap. Here is the role of your company. Your company has to understand what they really need and to offer it to them. How should your company do that? By asking them, the simplest way. Okay, so this is the huge difference that make a success company to differentiate from a not successful, a successful one from a not successful one. Do you focus on your customers? Do you understand what they want? How are you doing? Are you going to do that? Minimum viable product is a technique which is going to get you there, and it is very important because in that way it is a two-way approach, because you try to understand what your customers want and your customers try to understand if you understand what they want. Okay, because at the end of the day, everything in business is about trusting, and this is what the brand name has to do with. Brand name means, if you have a strong brand name, means that customers trust you, trust your company. When they see the name of your company, they know that they're going to get an amazing product from your company, and this is why they're trusting you, and they pay a premium to buy your product. Okay, and this is why you differentiate from the others, and this is why it is very hard to create a very well-known brand name. Okay, of course, there are a lot of ways. There are other things that involved in all this situation, like marketing, sales, etc. But the thing is that your customer, there are companies which do not even use marketing, and big companies, very well known. Why they don't use marketing? Because they believe that their customers know exactly how good their products are. And now that they are already successful, they know that via their brand name, they're going to sell. On the other hand, you have other companies which spend billions and billions of dollars on marketing, and they're very well known. Okay, they have a different approach. But the thing is that at the end of the day, your customers are the ones who are going to judge your products, and this is how amazing this technique is. Okay, you get real 100 real feedback from your customers, and your customers understand that you hear them. Why? Because the next time, the next iteration, the next product, the next version of your product is going to be exactly what they want, and they appreciate that because they know that you hear them. Okay, customers are not stupid. Don't underestimate the customers. On the contrary, focus on them, listen to them, listen to the problems, listen to their needs, understand what they want, and via this customer-centric approach, you are going to create an amazing relationship with them, and they're going to buy again and again from you. You're going to see your customer retention to increase at 80, 90, 95%, all this kind of stuff. And the lifetime value that they're going to add to your company is going to be huge. Okay, and this is what you want. This is your competitive advantage. And this method is amazing because of that too. Early adopters love to use MVPs. Tailor the initial product to satisfy their needs. If no one thinks your MVP is interesting or sufficient, iterate or pivot with qualitative until they say yes. Okay, so this is your final goal. To make your customers say, yes, this is what I want. I really want to buy it. Okay, you are my guy. MVPs refine the solution and eliminates product scope creep. Okay, this has to do with a project which is running from your company, and along the way, the project scope changes. The project work starts to extend beyond what was originally agreed. So this is something that can happen in business and when you're running projects, especially when you're running simultaneously projects which interact with each other, and or situations in the market change or customers need change along the way, etc. Now, if and only if no customers can be found for the most important features of the MVP, bring customers additional feature requests to the productive development team. Okay, only then, if and only if no customers can be found for the most important features of the MVP, then bring customers additional feature requests to the productive development team. Okay, we're discussing now about the development phase, and it has to do with what our customers really want, and how we can embed what they really want in the iteration process. Feature requests to an MVP are exception and iteration rather than rule. Here we have examples of minimum viable product. We have the Apple with the iPhone 2, for example. We have the Visa. Okay. We have the second market with Excel. Everybody knows these products. Now, how do you decide features in an MVP? Which features to use and which not? Principle 1, less is more in MVP development. New is easy, right is hard, as Craig Federici from Apple said. So don't use all the features that you have in mind, okay? Use less of them, but use the ones that you think you really need feedback from your customers because you are not sure that they're going to serve their goal. Principle 2, the most boring feature is the most important one. Exhibit. Here we have an Instagram app, uploading speed, which is important, for example, in this kind of occasion, this kind of apps. Focus on that boring feature. It might be the most important one. So hear your customers' feedback about it. Principle 3, the path of least resistance. Minimize friction. How simple we want the process to be. Do we really need them to fill up everything? By the path of least resistance, we mean exactly what what the term says. We need the path which provides the least resistance to forward moving of our process. Okay. Principle 5, focus on closing the loop for the user. We have here the Uber application. You need to close the loop for the user because the user wants a complete product which is going to fill all his or her needs. Principle 6, iterate and refine with user feedback and user data. We have the prototype, we share it, we get feedback, we refine it, and then we create a better prototype, and then we go to the next loop, which is an iterative process. Principle 7, be prepared to pivot if it's not working. We have here some examples from ODO became Twitter, and the point became Groupon, for example, etc. Okay, you see how things work. If you are not satisfied with your feedback, you need to be prepared to pivot and to change things even a lot with your final product until this thing is going to work for your customers. Now, what is the main objective of the MVP? Build the product or test the idea? Step 1, build. Test hypotheses, ideas by building a prototype, code. What kind of idea do we want to test? What kind of prototype should we build? What technology should we use to build code? PHP, Node, .js, which one? Where can I find a technical co-founder? What if my product is not perfect? Does customer will trust my brand? As we said, this is a risk that you need to take. And of course, this can be via this hypothesis with the answers to, you get answers to all these questions, and then you build the prototype via using some tools, for example, like Google Form, MailChimp, Sumo.me, IFTTT, Zapier, Shopify, LaunchRock. You can get feedback from all this kind of tools, and you can get answers to your questions, answers to your hypothesis in order to continue with the loop and create a better prototype. Step 2, measure. Expose your prototype code to customers and track behaviors, which is data. What should we track? Which part of the data? Because you're going to have excessive data. Because you're launching your product, even if it's in beta form, in the real world, in the real market situations. How to set up tracking. How often should we look at data? How we know we have enough data to take a decision? How to do if data make no sense? How to bring traffic to the MVP? Tools we use: Google Analytics, Optimizely, Gecko Board, Mix Panel, Kissmetrics, RG Metrics, Looker. Via these tools, we can analyze the data that we get. And of course, as we said, the owner of the product, the one who is responsible for it, is going to is going to put the benchmark in terms of what to do if data make no sense. So how do we know we have enough data to take a decision? So he or she puts the level that we need to reach via our data in order to understand what to do with our product. Step 3, learn. Okay, we answer the questions, we get the data. Now, how to track knowledge, how to write and share knowledge with the rest of the team, how to prepare the next iteration, how to develop the roadmap and prioritize the next features. Should you raise money to build the next iteration? So we need to answer these questions as well, because these questions are going to give us the knowledge that we need in order to launch the new prototype. The tools that we use are Google Sheets, Asana, Balsamiq Mockups, phone, email, etc. What is the value of this process? We create validated ideas that increase the value of the startup, a product that customer wants, while lowering the risk. Okay, so it is a win-win situation for everybody. Customers get what they really want at the end of the day, and you are lowering the risk of launching a product which is going to cost you a lot of money without fulfilling the customer's needs. When should we stop this process? The answer is here, down here, okay? Never. Because, okay, you're going to launch the original prototype, the final thing, the final product, which is going to fulfill customers' needs. But you see, we said from the beginning that we need to have a customer-centric approach, which means that we always need to listen to our customers, because what our customers want might change over time. Why? Because a competitor might have launched a new product, or new technologies might have created new needs for our customers, for example, okay, or might things in the market have changed, or things that we might find, for example, via pestel analysis, which might not have to do with the product itself or the market itself, but with political or economical or legislation reasons, etc. Okay, we need to take a look at the market, take a look at our customers' needs, which evolve and change over time, and we need to get this feedback, get this data, analyze this data, and then make a better product all over and all over again, or even launch a new product if the situation needs something like that. Now, conventional lean wisdom session, we are going to now entering into the 5 whys. The 5 whys is an iterative question asking technique used to explore the cause and effect relationship underlying a particular problem. It has to do with root cause analysis, as we said. The primary goal of the technique is to determine the root cause of a defect or problem. As Taichi Ono, in the Toyota production system in page 17 said, by asking why 5 times and answering it each time, we can get the real cause of the problem. Okay, we're going to see an example here. If we don't use the root cause analysis of in the case of a headache, at a normal company, why does it take? Because I have a cold. Solution, take the aspirin. Okay, that's it. Meanwhile, at Toyota, why does it take? Because I have cold. Why did you catch a cold? Second why, I spent time in the cold. Third why, why? Because I didn't take my coat. Fourth, why? I didn't expect to be so cold outside. Fifth, why? I don't check temperature before going out. Which is the solution? Install a thermometer and discipline to check it every time. Okay, so it goes back and back and back until you find the root of the problem. And if you solve the root of the problem won't come in the open again. With the first approach, with just one why does it take? Because I have a cold, take an aspirin. The next time you're going to get a cold again, okay? And again and again and again, because you didn't understand in the first place which is the root cause of your problem in order to solve it once and forever, okay? Today, this statement looks more like attractive wishful thinking. By asking why 5 times and answering this time, we can get the real cause of the problem, as Taitsyono said. The 5 whys concept and the quote from Ono are appealing to our brains, which have a natural urge to want certainty, even when it is not there. Finding the root cause of a problem is typically not possible through discussion, brainstorming, logic, and reason. You have to experiment and learn your way to greater knowledge and understanding. At best, asking the 5 whys is a brainstorming technique, not a problem-solving technique. They don't reveal anything beyond what we already think we know. Okay, this is a more modern approach. Okay, you might think that with the 5 whys you solve all the problems. In reality, things are more complicated, especially in our today's world, because everything is more complicated in today's markets. And of course, this is something that Taitsyono didn't have in mind. He didn't know how things are going to evolve in the next 50, 70 years. So it is a more naive approach, maybe you can say that. Here is a template we can use with the 5 whys. We have here an interview, the guy that we're asking the questions, first why, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Underlying to the cause, we added here potential solution, which is the root causes of the problem, and which is the solution that we found in order to deal with it. So this concludes today's lecture. I hope you enjoyed it. We learned a lot of things about how to start with MVPs in order to have a lean operation, especially in startups. And we had a quick focus on 5 whys and the root cause analysis, how it can be done in order to find out which is the root cause of your problem. The big takeaway is that we need to answer to our customers' needs, to add value to them, and to listen to what they want and fulfill what they want. Okay, and we need to use this kind of technique, for example, the MVP one, in order to do so. We crunch the numbers, or we do our qualitative analysis, depends on the situation, or even both, and then we getting the results. And via these results, we can improve our products or our services, and then we can launch them in a better way, in a better form. This is an iteration process which stops when never is the answer. And why is that? Because things are changing in the markets, changing all around us all the time, and what our customers need and want change all the time, and we need to answer to these changes, to these needs of our customers, in order to give them the best possible outcome, the best possible service, or the best possible product. So thank you very much, and see you in the next lecture.